channel. I'm Sandy and I'm the owner of I Love You Candle Company, and I'm back here with my second video, and this video is going to be about your shopping list, your list of supplies that you need in order to start making candles. So in this video, I'm not going to go into how to make candles or anything like that. This video is strictly just your shopping list. What supplies will you need in order to start making candles? So I want to go ahead and start off by the very first thing you're going to need, and it's your wax. So bear with me here so I can show you the wax that I use. The wax that I use comes in pretty much this brick looking thing. So this is just one slab, but two slabs come in this package, which this is 11 pounds. The two slabs total to 11 pounds, and it runs for about like $23. So you can cut this with a knife. However, I actually use this bakery cutter, if you will. I think they use this to cut fondant or to do something with fondant. I'm not sure. I found it in the bakery aisle in Michael's, and this is what I use. It makes it very easy versus using a knife. It makes cutting the wax very, very easy. I don't remember how much I paid for this, but I will add a link in the description so that you guys can have the link directly to it. So you will need your wax. This is personally the wax that I use. You can use any type of wax. It's up to you what type of wax you want to use. What I would do is I would test the different waxes to see which is the type of wax that you want to work with. So there are different 464, 466. There is coconut soy wax. There is apricot coconut. There is 100% soy. There is soy that's mixed with paraffin blend. So there are so many different types of waxes that you will have to determine which is the wax that you feel comfortable using, that you like using, that goes well with your containers, your wicks. You choose what wax you want to use. So I use this wax, which I will leave in the description, the type of wax that I use. The problem with the wax that I use, it sells out very fast. So you have to keep that in mind. If you are not ready to stock up on a lot of wax, you have to keep in mind that if the supplier who you're purchasing from, if they run out of the wax, who's your backup? Who are you going to purchase wax from? Wax that the quality matches the wax that you ran out of. Definitely the wax that I use is not 464. I don't like 464. 464 is the wax that came in my previous video on the candle making kit. 464, that's the wax that came. I'm not really fond of it. I'll make a separate video reviewing that type of wax and going into the different types of wax, but for right now we're going to keep it very simple because we're going through the supply. The second thing that you will need is candle tins. Candle tins, candle jars, whatever you want to call them. Personally, I use two types. I use this white. If you look, this is a candle that I already poured and it's ready to get labeled. But if you can see, it's a beautiful jar, especially when you add your label. It's label day tomorrow, so I haven't added my labels yet. But if you look, it has a bronze lid. And this is my brand. This is what I want my jar to look like. The second jar that I use, oh, by the way, this is a 10 ounce jar, but I fill up to 8.5 ounces of wax. So this, I sell it as an 8.5 candle. The second jar that I use is my 3-wick. My 3-wick container. This one is 19 ounces, but I fill up to 17 ounces of wax. And this one's pretty clear, you can see. The lid is bronze as well. It still has the little foil at the top. So I will go ahead and add as well in the description where I got these from. These are discontinued from my supplier. Whatever inventory they have, that's what they're selling. So if they sell out, I guess we're gonna have to look for other suppliers where we can find the 3. But as of right now, I'm pretty stocked up. Let's go on to the next thing, which is a thermometer. So the thermometer that I'm currently using, and I know in my previous video I said I did not like this one, but I have been using this one a lot, only because I got used to reading it and it's pretty accurate. So what I do is that I leave it in my Presto pot and it just takes the temperature of the wax pretty accurate. However, I still use an infrared thermometer. Don't get this confused with the thermometer that people in the hospitals and everywhere you go, they're using for COVID to test your temperature. You cannot use this on humans. So don't buy one and joking around because it is laser. Do not use this on humans. So what it is, let's see if you can see. It gives you the temperature. See if you can, okay, there you go. It gives you the temperature. What you do is that with the infrared thermometer, you point it into the wax down, for example, and you will get the temperature of the wax. So this I like to use especially when I'm waiting for the wax to cool down to pour it into the candles. This helps a lot because I don't have to touch the wax with this thermometer and I'm able to see the temperature of the wax before I pour into the container. So those are the 2 thermometers that I use. Next on my list, we're gonna go with the pre-tab wicks. So I use CD10 wicks. You'll see that there are so many different types of wicks, and honestly guys, wicks is gonna be a whole different video because there's so much explanation that goes into the wicks. That I just want to make sure that I don't overwhelm you guys with information in a video like this one. So the pre-tab wicks, see, this is the wick, this is the tab, and these come pre-tab because they do sell these tabs separate and you have to do them yourself, which that takes up a lot of time, but they sell them like this already. This is super convenient. And what you want to do also is get the stickers. So you will see, if you do your research, you will see that there's other people out there, other candle makers that will use a hot glue gun to tape, after the tape, to glue it and secure it to the container. You don't have to do that. To me, that is double the work. If you get good stickers, good wick, you're not gonna run into any problems. There's no reason why you have to use a hot glue gun. I've never had to use one and I've been making candles for a while now. I've never had to use glue gun. My wicks have never come out of place. I've never had an issue, so you shouldn't either. The way these work, what you will do is you're gonna take one of these and you stick it out and you're gonna tape it to your wick, to the wick tab. And once you do that, and this is not how this goes, this is just an example so you guys can see, you're gonna go ahead and tape it to your candle. And that's how it goes. That's not how you do it, so don't get it twisted. No, that's just an example so you can see, but this is to wick this jar, that's a whole nother video on its own, because there is a certain way you have to wick them so they're all wicked out even, so you get that burn pull that you need. The next thing on my list is the metal bow ties. So I ordered these initially when I first started making candles, and I do like them. They're pretty sturdy. The issue that I have is I have nails. I have long nails. So at times my nail gets caught up, even though these are really good. I do recommend them, but if you have long nails, I actually prefer using these. These cost a little bit more than these, but these are really, really good because you only need one. So the way I place it is I place it on the top. Some people go ahead and place it this way. I personally place them upside down. only because then I have more room here for my wick to breathe and my soy to breathe, my wax. So that's why I do that. That's just my thing. There's no wrong or right way. You can do it like this and you can do it like this. But I like these because they stay in place. They're easy to hook on. So your wick is gonna hook on to these little circles, and you see like these little incisions here. They just clamp onto there. They stay in place until you take it out so you can cut your wick. These two, I'm gonna put them in the description so you can see where I got each one. One thing I did want to mention is that when it comes to the container, sorry, backtracking, these are sold separate. The lid is sold separate and the jar is sold separate. There are numerous suppliers out there with vessels, and every supplier is different. Some suppliers will sell you the lid with the container together. Some will sell it to you separate. I personally like both. I don't mind. The advantage that you have when they're sold separate is that you can customize the lid to the jar however you want it, versus when it comes already pre-made this way, pre-selected, you really don't have a say-so. So that was just a sidebar. The next thing that we're gonna go ahead is your fragrance. You're gonna need fragrance. Now, fragrance is a tricky thing to order when you can't smell it. So what I would say is, what kind of fragrances do you like? You can start off with those. And you just go ahead and order those fragrances. And I would suggest to start off with 1 ounce sample bottles. 1 ounce sample bottle will be good enough to do 1 to 2 candles, depending on how much fragrance oil you use. 1 ounce bottle of fragrance. This is actually, if I'm not mistaken, this is like a 4 ounce. So this is not what 1 ounce looks like. 1 ounce is much smaller. This is Sea Salt Blossom, and it's actually from the Flaming Candle. And it's actually pretty good. It's a really nice smell. So you're gonna need fragrance oil. The next thing you're gonna need is the metal pour pot. I have a bigger one, but honestly, only because I have a Presto pot, I actually enjoy using this one more versus the larger one. This one holds 1 pound of wax. And the next thing you will need is a pan. So what you can do is have a pan, one of the ones that you use to make rice, or one like this, whatever you want, but as long as you're not gonna use it to cook anymore. Because what you're gonna use this for is the wax, to melt the wax. It's called the double boiler method. You can melt the wax in the microwave. People do that. I don't like that. I would honestly not recommend it. You can use a wax melter, a Presto pot, but that costs more money. This is the least expensive route to go, especially when you're first starting. Once you've started your business and you started making candles and you started making a profit, I would highly suggest to get a Presto pot. And in another video, I will show you guys what it looks like. And the following thing that you're gonna need are warning labels. This is very important. These are the warning labels, and you can make your own or you can buy them from the supplier. But this is very important because it's a warning label on how to care for the candle. And when you're selling candles, by law, you must add a warning label to the bottom of your candles, to the top, wherever, but it normally goes on the bottom. The thing that you're gonna need is scissors or a wick trimmer. This is what a wick trimmer looks like. And these are the scissors that I use. Honestly, to trim my wicks, I actually prefer using the scissors versus this. This actually isn't as sharp, and they can be faulty, and not all of them will trim your wick smoothly, like a very clean cut. A lot of the times this will not give me a clean cut. This, I use it more after I've lit a candle to trim my wick 1/4. I actually use this versus the scissors. So I would suggest when you're first making the candle, prepping them, when you're gonna initially cut the wick, use scissors. For candle maintenance, after you light it up, you can use this. The next thing we're gonna get into is Dixie cups. Dixie cups. These are my best friends when it comes to measuring fragrance. And I will show you guys how I do this in my next video. But I use Dixie cups because I pour the fragrance in my Dixie cups to measure my fragrance. The next thing that I use is a gram scale. This is, if you see, is the size of my hand. And this is the scale that I use because it's very precise. This is the scale that I use to measure my fragrance. If you see, the Dixie cup goes perfectly on there, and this is what I use for. The next thing that I use is a kitchen scale. The kitchen scale is what I use to measure my wax. This kitchen scale is very, very, very good. It's very light too. It's not heavy to move around, which I love. I'm gonna go ahead and put the link to this also in the description box. I got it off of my Amazon. And the next thing is a dropper. So nobody told me about this. I figured and got a dropper all on my own, and let me tell you why. So I have very shaky hands. I don't know about you guys, but I have very shaky hands. I have arthritis in my hands. So a lot of the times when I'm pouring fragrance into the Dixie cup, my hand will shake, and sometimes I will pour too much. We can go back and forth all night long with pouring and pouring, you know, back and forth to get that precise. Or if I overflow, flow on the Dixie cup, and maybe I can use a dropper, take out some fragrance here, dab it back into the container, and the measurement that I need precisely, and it's just perfect. So definitely a dropper. And last but not least, I use bamboo sticks. After you mix your, I'm gonna go, again, this is gonna be very detailed in my next video. After you mix your fragrance with your wax, I use a bamboo stick to mix the fragrance for 30 seconds. Like I said in my previous video, I don't like the sound of metal to metal. That's why I use the bamboo sticks, and honestly, they're great. Sometimes I even reuse them again, but definitely they're great. That is all I have for you for today, and that is basically all the supplies that you will need to make a candle. I want you to keep in mind that there are some things missing when it comes to packaging and labeling and all that stuff to finish your candle, but that's going to be a different video. This list is strictly what you will need to make a candle, one candle. And if you look there, look how beautiful that looks. It's super smooth. I love it. And that's it. Thank you so much for joining me. Thank you for supporting me, and I can't wait to see you guys again and record another video. Don't forget to like, subscribe to my channel so you can get notifications of every video that I upload. I am trying to upload a video a week, but I'm shooting also for 2 videos a week, depending on how my schedule allows it, especially since we're going into busy season. But I'm definitely going to be uploading more videos, so please stay tuned, and thank you so much for joining me, and bye.